Meanwhile, a few hours away, Dele in the company of Yaya continued on the dusty road. And there was Jedi spying on them from the covers of the barren hills. He did not expect Ola the mighty farmer to come in the caravan of Yaya the great merchant. But what must be done must be done. Jedi gave a shout, and he and his men charged forward, ambushing the caravan. That evening, Dele had come to the yam barns to select the best yams as a gift to the king. Then he spotted a familiar face. Ola was there, picking yams from the barn with other women. Dele's heart skipped. It had been 3 yam harvests, yet the sight of her still stirred deep emotions within him. Ola, unaware of Dele's presence, continued in her chore as Dele approached. Ola, he called softly. Startled, she turned and saw Dele standing before her. A mix of emotions played across her face. Surprise, anger, and a gleam of longing. Dele, she replied coldly. They stood there, the bustling yam barn fading into the background as they faced each other. From the way Dele carried himself and how the servants reacted to him, Ola could tell that Dele was Ola the mighty farmer. Of course, Ola Bami Dele. It made sense now. Dele's heart pounded. I didn't expect to see you here, he said. And I didn't expect you to become a wealthy farmer, Ola retorted, her tone sharp. So how much did you make? Selling me for 3 bags of cowries. Dele's eyes widened in shock. What are you talking about? Akin told me everything, she spat. You traded me for money and left without a word. Is that all I was worth to you? Dele felt a surge of anger. That's a lie. Akin lied to you. He told me you gave yourself to him for wealth and status. Ola's eyes flashed with indignation. I would never do that. I turned him down because my heart was with you. But you believed his lies, didn't you? Dele stepped closer, his voice trembling. I saw you with him, heard him talk about making you his wife. How was I supposed to believe anything else? Ola's eyes filled with tears. You should have trusted me, Dele. Instead, you left me heartbroken and confused. Dele looked down, his guilt overwhelming. I thought you betrayed me. I was blinded by anger and jealousy. Jealousy? You were blinded by greed. Ola shot back. I never betrayed you, Dele. I loved you. As the tension between them reached its peak, Ola held up her wrist. She still wore the cowries bracelets Dele had bought for her. Do you see this? I've worn it every day since you gave it to me. It reminded me of you, even when I thought you had forgotten me. Dele's heart softened at the sight of the bracelet. Ola, I'm sorry. I was a fool to believe Akin's lies. I never stopped loving you. Ola's tears spilled over, but she turned her face away, trying to hold on to her anger. How can I believe you, Dele? How do I know this isn't another lie? Dele reached out and took her hand, looking into her eyes with sincerity. Because this time, I'm here, standing before you, not running away. I want to make things right. Then, with a soft sob, Ola fell into his arms. Dele held her tightly, feeling the weight of 4 yam harvests lift from his shoulders. True love is always forgiving, and their past grievances melted away in the warmth of their reunion. That night, the feast wasn't only for the king's servants. Everyone rejoiced at the reunion of Ola and Dele. 2 yam harvests went by, but the famine continued to ravage the kingdom. Everyone who remained now depended on Ola, the mighty farmer, for sustenance. Dele expanded his farmlands throughout the neighboring towns. He had several hundreds of servants, so digging wells and irrigating the acres of farmlands was not a problem. He continued to sustain the people within and outside the kingdom. Yes, your ears were itching to hear. Dele married Ola, and they were blessed with a son. The old widow was ecstatic. Not only had the heavens given her a son, but they also blessed her with a grandson as well. Meanwhile, back in the king's city, the emotions were not that of joy. The king had passed on in the most mysterious of ways. While Elle and the king's family members mourned, Akin was ecstatic in his quarters. Now his destiny would be fulfilled, he said to himself. Akin's elimination plan had worked. He compromised the king's cook after giving the greedy man lots of gold and cowries to do the job. After the deed was done, the cook himself was now a loose end, and Akin had to eliminate him too. With the help of Jedi, a notorious vagabond who had hundreds of ill-hearted men at his command, Akin had formed an alliance with them. While he fed them in the famine, they in turn did his biddings. What is a king without an army? Doku was disturbed by Akin's new association. He began to doubt if he really was indeed the son of Ajani, a man who was kind and humble. Akin's heart had turned dark in his lust for power. That same night, the elders and the kingmakers took counsel. They had consulted Eledumare, and it was revealed that the famine will continue for another 3 yam harvests. We will not survive if something is not done fast, Elle said gloomily. Everyone agreed. An elder suggested they turn to Ola the mighty farmer for help. He said from the reports of the servants the king sent to buy food, it was apparent that Ola the mighty farmer was kind and wise. He would find a solution to feed the whole kingdom for the 3 yam harvest. But we have no money left to buy food. We have spent our last cowries to buy food for the people, Elle said. Akin has money, said a kingmaker. He can help us. But a great number of elders objected sharply. Never, said the oldest elder. We don't need a man with such lust for power. Remember, our king died in a mysterious way after Akin tried to overthrow him, another elder said. A witch cries at night and a child dies in the morning, a kingmaker pondered out loudly. The kingdom is vulnerable at this time. We need a man of compassion, said Elle. What is Akin doing with a private army? He can't be trusted, an elder vented. Then everywhere was quiet. It was obvious. Ola the mighty farmer was their only hope. But how would they get him to help? Why don't we make him king then? Said the oldest elder. The throne is vacant. If a man is wise enough to plant food without rain and reap a harvest that fits the kingdom, why can't he rule over us? His words settled well with all the elders. It was decided they would send for Ola the mighty farmer and make him king. Meanwhile, back in Iba town, the news did not take long before reaching Akin, who screamed with rage. How dare those old morons try to mess with my destiny, he roared. I will deal with them and their farmer king. He sent for Jisikebi, who was ready with an evil plan. Ola the mighty farmer had only farm laborers around him, so it would be easy to ambush him on his way to the coronation and take him out. The plan sounded great to Akin. After that, we will storm the palace and take what's rightfully mine, Akin growled. It was the second day, as Dele was spending time with his wife and son, that the delegates from the palace, led by Elenu, arrived. Dele was confused to see them. After Elenu told Dele their mission, he was speechless. Being a great farmer was one thing, but being a king was a whole different responsibility entirely. The weight of their request weighed down on his shoulders. He demanded they give him some time to consider their offer. Do not take too long to decide, great farmer. We are like little chicks exposed after the death of the mother hen. The hawk is in the shadows waiting. At any time, it can attack. That night, Dele was restless. He went to see the old widow for wisdom. Rivers flow into seas, our baby said. Your journey since the day you came here has been towards greatness. I knew this the first day I saw you. But being a king is a huge responsibility. I don't know if I can do it. Dele doubted himself. You have everything to succeed as a king. You are a wise and compassionate man. The kingdom needs wisdom and compassion at this trying time, the old widow said. With that, Dele returned to Ola, who was waiting for him. Have you decided? She asked with apprehension. The people need me, but if I take this offer, your life will change forever, Dele told her. I will follow you anywhere, my husband, Ola vowed. Dele held his wife in his arms. It was foretold that he would be a servant all his life, but look at him now. The next day, just before the sun went down, Dele had another esteemed visitor, Yaya, the wealthy merchant. Dele could not believe his eyes. Yaya had stopped to buy food for his caravan as he journeyed through the town. Greetings, my name is... I know who you are, Dele cut in excitedly. My whole family knows who you are. And before the cock crew that evening, Dele had told Yaya everything that had happened in his life since the day he heard his inspirational speech on the dusty road. Yaya was thrilled. I always hoped someone would pick something from my words other than the gold I threw on the ground. I am fulfilled, Yaya said. And lucky too. If you had come a day later, you would have missed me. I leave tomorrow for my coronation, said Dele. My men will accompany you, Yaya said with joy. You will arrive as a king. Dele was overjoyed. But first, Yaya said with some seriousness, there is someone I want you to meet. Dele frowned curiously. 2 days later, and the elders and nobles of the kingdom waited in anticipation for the arrival of Ola, the mighty farmer, to crown him their king. Akin was present, but unusually calm, a sharp contrast to his usual irascibility. Meanwhile, a few hours away, Dele in the company of Yaya continued on the dusty road. And there was Jedi spying on them from the covers of the barren hills. He did not expect Ola the mighty farmer to come in the caravan of Yaya the great merchant. But what must be done must be done. Jedi gave a shout, and he and his men charged forward, ambushing the caravan. But then Yaya's men, ever vigilant, repelled them with swift efficiency. Jedi was captured, and under the threat of death, he begged for his life. "Please, spare me! I will tell you everything," Jedi pleaded, his voice trembling. The king's city was agog when Dele and his party arrived. The elders received him warmly, their gratitude palpable. Akin's calm demeanor evaporated in shock as he recognized Ola, the mighty farmer, as his estranged friend. It can't be! Dele? Akin stammered, his face pale. Dele met Akin's gaze with a still look. "Yes, it is I, Akin. Surprised to see me? Alive? No, it can't be. You were supposed to be a servant for the rest of your life," Akin said. "When a man works diligently, the heavens see and reward," said Yaya with strong conviction. As Akin struggled to grasp the impossibility, Jedi, trembling with fear, pointed at Akin and declared him to be the instigator of the assassination attempt. He's lying!" Akin shouted, his voice trembling. This is a plot against me." "We will come to that later," Dele said calmly. "First, there is someone all of us should meet." Akin frowned with apprehension, wondering what his estranged friend was up to. A young man stepped forward, claiming to be Ajani, the son of the deceased old man whose wealth Akin had inherited. "I am Ajani, son of Ajani," he announced. "I was taken by slave raiders and later bought my freedom from Yaya, the great merchant, after serving him for 15 years. "You are lying," barked Akin. "Where is your proof? I have the ring to show I am my father's son." "Dele brought you here to lie against me." Dele watched intently, his gaze unwavering. "I lost that ring while traveling through the neighboring town," young Ajani replied. Toku was confused by all this. Akin had the ring, but this boy was a striking resemblance of his late master. "Wait," said Doku. "Where did your father lose you?" he asked both men. Young Ajani confidently answered, "The big market in Ede. I saw a peacock and wandered off." Akin, caught off guard, didn't know what to say. He stammered, In a small town. I was too young to remember where." Doku shook his head at Akin, with pain and disappointment in his eyes. "You lied to us all this time, Akin. You are wicked." "No, this is a mistake. He is the impostor. I swear to you, I am Ajani's son," Akin yelled, desperation creeping into his voice. "Enough, Akin. Your deceit ends here." Dele's authoritative voice cut through the noise. Then Dele revealed the truth about Akin's false identity, exposing his treachery, how he found the ring in the sand and deceived Doku. The elders, now filled with righteous anger, ordered Akin to be imprisoned for life. "Take him away," Elenu demanded. "He will pay for his crimes." As Akin was dragged away, he begged for mercy from Dele and the elders. "Please, Spare me! I was misled! But his pleas fell on deaf ears. With the truth now revealed and justice served, Dele was crowned king and the kingdom erupted in celebration. Under Dele's wise and compassionate rule, no one in the kingdom went hungry. For the remaining 3 yam harvests, the famine lasted. Dele built a magnificent palace in Ori, moving his seat of power there. Ola, now queen, stood by his side, radiant and proud. The old widow, watching from the sidelines, wiped a tear of joy from her eye. Ori had transformed into a royal town, and its people flourished under Dele's just and generous rule. As the kingdom prospered, the wisdom of a proverb echoed in their lives. A log submerged in water will eventually float to the surface. Although Dele was submerged by the negative words of the seer, he eventually rose to fulfill his true destiny. When one works diligently, the heavens will see and reward.